The first activity I was assigned when I joined my company was to go through a huge Word document containing all the specification of a service and align it with the actual code. It was updated the last time 1 year ago, and it was very hard to understand the code because I was a new joiner. And you know what happened after my task? 1 month later, the documentation was already updated again. What a frustration. So basically, this is a story that is common everywhere, more or less. In the best case scenario, the documentation exists but is outdated. In the worst case, the documentation simply does not exist. So, working software over comprehensive documentation. This is a famous quote from the Agile manifesto, but someone in Agile thinks it as working software and no documentation. But what if you don't have to write for real any documentation at all? What if your tests were the documentation? On the left side, you can see a feature file. Let me read it. Given the customer is browsing, when the customer adds the headphones to the cart, then the cart has one item, and the total is updated. Everyone understands exactly what this feature does. And on the right side, you can see the Java code that implements each step. Here, the code, the test, and the documentation are the same thing. And did you notice I didn't use any technical language at all? Here, both developers and business use the same words without any translation needed. And this is the ubiquitous language. Usually, the feature file comes from the Three Amigos meeting, where the developer brings the technical view, the QA thinks about all the edge cases, and the business brings the functional requirements. And nowadays, this is already happening in some companies. The business person produce autonomously the feature file using AI agents. One AI agent is instructed about the context of the code. Another AI agent is instructed with the QA knowledge. And providing the functional requirements brings everything together and provides the feature file to the developers. Someone told me, but why not just generate the documentation with AI? Because AI can hallucinate. Instead, the living documentation is high coupled to the code. And living documentation is not only useful for humans. AI can read it to get the right context, and in this way, the logic involved becomes more explicit and queryable by the agent. In practice, what happens? When we do a pull request, we merge it in the main branch, then a pipeline spins up and runs a test, and as output of the test, we get an HTML report automatically generated, and this report is deployed automatically to GitHub pages, to an object storage, ready to be visited by your customers, your team, etc. And this is what it looks like, a report of a living documentation. So you can see every scenario, you can see the data used in the test, you can see the code coverage, etc. And it comes nearly for free, except, of course, learning the Serenity BDD library, writing actually the test, but it requires zero extra effort and it enforces to have a high test coverage. So this can look a bold opinion, but your documentation will take care of itself if you stop writing documentation and start writing tests. So thank you, everyone. Don't forget to write your first BDD scenario on Monday. Scan the QR code if you want to speak with me about software development, extreme programming, etc. Thank you.